and coaching. Now, artificial intelligence. Let me just make this very bold, not brilliant comment. It's here. It's not coming. It's here. And I want to share with you, I was using a tool the other day and we had a scheduling glitch, and all of a sudden I get a notification from Zoom saying, you've got 200 people in the next hour for your webinar. And I'm like, no, I don't. It's not on my calendar. And it was a mistake I made in scheduling. I didn't have the slide deck built. I didn't have my presentations built. I went to an AI tool, great tool, by the way, logged in, told it the system what I wanted. I had a 12 slide deck, beautifully done with images in about 3-4 minutes. I had to touch up a few things, but it was really good. We use AI. We are not against AI. I want to be very clear, but I want to share today's topic, why AI will not overtake leadership coaching. Here's why. There's a human value, there's a contextual value, there's an emotional value. AI will never really see you frown and know your emotions when you get to know your people. And so when you think about leadership coaching and you think of the end of the year review, I promise you, and I've said this in podcasts, I've said it, written it in articles, I've said it on other videos. I'm telling you right now, the minute we have AI do the end of the year review, or use the results of AI to conduct the end of the year review, it will undermine our leadership tremendously. Here's why. I remember over 20 years ago. Now, somebody might argue this point, okay? Somebody might argue this point, it was a different time, but hear me out for contextual value. I walked around the building and the doors were all, half closed. It was really quiet. It was kind of eerie, to be honest with you. And I remember going to my client, Tom. I said, Tom, what the heck is going on? It's like a morgue in here. It's really quiet. He said, oh, the PMPs are due at 11 o'clock in HR. I said, PMPs? Oh, end of the year reviews. It's performance management plans or something. I said, oh, gosh, I figured he did something like that. Could I see one? He said, sure. And they measured their employees in 8 categories. I want you to really hear this. One of the categories was entrepreneurship. And I'm the only entrepreneur truly in the building. And I'm looking at this, and it's a pretty distinct definition. And I am stunned. And here's why. And I don't mean to be theatrical. I was blown away because there wasn't a manager in that building for the most part that had an entrepreneurial bone in their body. Number 2, they never talked about being entrepreneurial. Number 3, they never coached or mentored on being entrepreneurial. Yet they got evaluated in what the leader wasn't coaching to. And people would come out of those meetings with their bosses and for the most part were angry. Now, why do I share that? That's Tim, that's 20 years ago. What does that have to do with today? So just met with a client, HR department. They're using a software tool. Now, by the way, I'm not against today's software tools. Well, it comes with a module. It makes our end of the year really easy to do. And I say that really sarcastically because the software tool doesn't know your business imperatives, doesn't know what's currently going on in the business. Yet we're going to plug into this software tool so we can make the end of the year review easier. And I said to her, I go, for who? And she said, well, for everybody. I said, I'm an employee. My manager's not coaching me on some of the things that you're talking about. We just started with them. And I said, and I'm being evaluated on what the leader didn't participate in? And it hasn't even been brought up as a topic 20 years later. Now it's a software thing. So what's going to happen with AI is this. It's going to elevate the power of the conversation. Here's what I mean by that. If at the end of the year, I say to one of my employees, Jill, I want to give you your end of the year review. And by the way, I went into the AI tool. It dehumanizes, it commoditizes my relationship with that employee. We have to sit down with our employees and have these conversations. Yes, are people's jobs going to change? Yes, because of AI. It's going to require us to have a conversation around what? Change, acceptance, navigating, being agile. You can't just throw technology at it. Let me tell you why. Here's another hopefully contextual value for you. When you think about it, and you think about what we just went through with the pandemic, right? Everybody started working at home. All of a sudden you get on this thing called Zoom or WebEx and geez, I can meet with my people. I can do this in my pajamas. I can walk down the hallway. I don't even have to get in my car. It's cold out. I don't even have to pay for gas. And it started to elevate people's values of working virtually. Now, our company, and we're very lucky to do this, and we actually learned this from a company here in Wisconsin, a great company, Titus Talent. They've been virtual for like 15 years. And I would sit down with them. I'm like, how do you guys do this? And we started doing it about 12, 13 years ago. So it was pretty easy for us. Yet, what happened to companies that were in person that had to go virtual? Now they're having in this, we've never used the word hybrid work environment more than ever. People said, what? I want to get back in person. I got to get together with people. It's about sitting down with the people. And it is. I'm not putting that down. Yet what it did is the technology evolution of being virtual prompted people to crave human interaction. That's what's happening, people. So while AI can build PowerPoints and write documents and write books, and we use one of the tools to frame out some of our new coaching books coming out. Incredible. I love AI. Yet this, if you and I are talking and I say, Jill, I'm no longer going to coach you. I've signed you up for an AI application tool. Every week you're going to log in and I'm not against that, by the way. Yet it should never, ever, ever replace leadership coaching, ever. See, when there's a revolution, an evolution like AI, the internet, new software coming out, mobile apps. I mean, we've been through this before. It requires people to have conversations. Let me give you another one. I have a friend who was an editor in a paper, went to her boss, and I don't think her boss knew, to be honest, and said, geez, these tools are coming out. I mean, you can edit in a matter of seconds. Is my job on the line? The guy goes, no. 2 days later, she was laid off. Now, I don't think he was lying. Now, later, she would tell me, I don't think he knew what was coming. Yet that conversation exploded inside their company. Everyone was thinking, oh man, he lied to her. No, he didn't lie to her. He didn't know it was coming. And so what came down was a pretty swift, expense reduction throughout the company. And it changes things. There's just no getting around it. It's going to change things. Yet all of these things that have evolution, innovation, revolution, they prompt something called change. Change requires conversation. So I'll never forget, my wife, who's a pediatrician, and I had this topic, and she said, well, you probably won't enter the medical world for a long time. And I said, are you crazy? I go, it's here. She said, well, give me an example. I said, you're not a dermatologist, but I saw an AI app that you could actually hold up to someone's face, or you could log in and you hold still and it does an image of your face. And it looks at, now, if I have like a rash or something, it would not only diagnose the skin ailment, it would write the prescription. She goes, what? Now, my wife is near the end of her career, so it's probably not going to impact her as much. Yet, what happens? Let's take that for a second. Now, you think about, great AI companies out there like NVIDIA. They write the brains of a lot of these cars and, collect data, and it allows us to have this thing called self-driving cars. Let me ask you a question. Be honest. You get in a self-driving car and you get in a bad accident, you getting back in right away? People will have a knee-jerk reaction. I promise you. If organizations throw AI at the need for coaching, if we throw AI at it, there will be a revolt. Employees will revolt. We have, when we do the end of the year review, we hear employees all the time, my boss never brought that up. That's going to subside because we threw technology at a conversation we should have been having a long time ago. See, here's the funny thing during the pandemic that we've experienced. People were literally, years ago. Now, we've been doing this 31 years. The number one excuse we get, or objection, I should say, and I think it's an excuse, is I don't have time to coach. Isn't that funny? That still comes up. So let me throw this out at you. What if AI gave you back so much time you could reinvest in your people? See, I think AI is going to create a really big opportunity for companies to engage with their employees, to dive into their career coaching aspirations. See, for years we would hear, I don't have time to coach, yet that's changed. Coaching's gone from it would be nice to do if I had time to, we've got to do this. That's happened in the last 5 years like I've never seen before. And my wife would say, well, geez, Tim, when are you going to slow down? I'm not going to slow down during this time because this is the greatest opportunity we've ever had in workplace coaching for what we do. Now, that sounds a little selfish, yet the point I'm trying to make is when you think about where we're at as an industry, think about this. When AI comes in, if we make the mistake, and we do all the time, we want to replace people. We want to replace conversations with technology. Some of that will occur. There's no getting around it. Yet it's going to circle back and people are going to do what? I need to talk to my boss. I don't know if I enjoy this job, or I might want to do something different, or I'm not getting along well with so-and-so. If we throw technology at people-driven problems or challenges or opportunities to grow, we are going to make a huge mistake. Now, I want to share one thing with you and a little bit, and I'm just throwing over here. I want to show you, I'm going to just show this really quick. We actually have built a tool, and if you want to take a snapshot of this QR code, this will allow you, and actually I'm going to do the same thing right now while I'm presenting to you because I want to make sure that it's working. But when you take a picture of this and this should send you out to a registration form for 5.0. The reason I want you to take a picture of this is what helps people have those conversations. Now, we have an AI component. So if you go into the tool, we have a tool called CAM, Coach Applied Mentor. And basically what you do is you click on it and you say, geez, I got someone lacking initiative. What are 3 questions? What are 3 activities? How could I use some supplemental coaching strategies, things that we share? And it will pop open an answer, but it's actually drawing upon our platform that we've built. And we also have downloadable coaching plans. The reason I share that with you is we want to position leaders to have these conversations. That's all we've been doing for 31 years. And my wife goes, aren't you worried about this is going to replace everything you do? And I said, it's going to accelerate the need for everything we do. Here's why. There's no way AI is going to do the end of the year review. There's no way. Even if it could do it better, people are going to want to sit with their boss. And the minute we absolve bosses from having end of the year review or coaching conversations, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Do we need bosses? Do we need leaders anymore? What are they going to lead? Well, they have to lead the strategy of the company. They have to hire people. AI is not going to do all of that. All of that is going to require conversation. Now, let me just say this in direct response to what leaders go through today. I think leaders have a lot on their plate. And leaders every single day, and I always make this comment, they will typically have 1 or 2 scheduled sessions with their employees if they're really coaching. And that's a leap of faith with some companies. Yet for the most part, employees are going to knock on that door and say, boss, do you have a second? Really, they need about 19 to 22 minutes because they're about to show some behaviors. Now, I bet some of you are laughing. Now, think about that. You're going to have that moment. They're going to knock on the desk or, chat online and say, could we schedule a virtual call? It is going to require the leader to respond. So if the leader is not having coaching conversations in that moment, they really have an absence of what's going on with the AI tool if you choose AI to coach your employees. So what's going to happen is in that moment, they're going to say, well, I'm having a problem, or I got passed over for this promotion, or, I really want to get promoted in the next 6 months because I started last Thursday. One of the things I hear all the time is, I want to talk about end of the year raises. Could we push that up? I get that from clients. In that moment, the leader's on. I often share this in my business. When people ask me, when you train on coaching conversations, what is a key skill? I said, you have to be able to demonstrate and role play in front of the group on the spot, because coaching is driven situationally. In that moment, a leader could say, well, geez, Jill, I don't really understand what you're doing. Let me do some research. I know you're frustrated. There's no way she would accept that answer. So the fact is when the employees come to the leaders, they have a lot. They typically get those interruptions about 4 or 5 times a day. And they last a good hour, hour and a half. And guess what happens? They get anxious because their work is starting to suffer. And when our work suffers, what happens? We show emotional intelligence or a lack of. Most of us lack self-awareness, and then we lack self-regulation. Then we don't show empathy. Oh, by the way, we have an AI tool. I can't answer this question. Go to your AI tool. We just dismiss somebody. I contend AI is going to elevate the need for leaders to have conversations. Now, they're going to be different conversations. Talking to somebody, and I just had a conversation with somebody. I'm actually having one this morning with somebody talking about your world is changing. It is changing fast. You need to get in that boat or it's going to drive right by you, present company included. So when I built our platform, and again, I'm just going to put this out there, take a picture. And if you want to, we'll send you a link to a webinar, an automated webinar, so you can see the platform. This is called Coach Apply 5.0. But just take a picture of that, go out, fill out the form, and just get some information on it. And here's why. When we're coaching, we have to be able to react to human emotions. If somebody's upset, they're going to need to talk to somebody. Now, again, I don't think anyone who's watching this or any of our clients are professing, we're going to replace all human interactions with AI. Yet we got to be careful. We got to be really careful that we're not throwing AI out there as a tool to replace those conversations. They're vital. We've said for how many decades, why do people quit? They don't quit organizations, they quit their bosses. Sometimes it's really unfair to the boss because he or she's already got a lot on their plate. So when we're coaching, we have to be very conscientious of a couple different things. Number one is the power of the conversation. It is going to get accentuated. What happens if you have a graphic designer like I do on your staff and AI is coming out with all these great tools? Are you going to say, don't worry about it? And then 2 months later realize, oh my gosh, we don't even need a graphic designer. We can do all this with these AI tools. That is happening right now. As insensitive and as callous as that sounds, that's happening right now. With that being said, leaders will always be required to have conversations. The pandemic, the virtual world, the hybrid world, now AI is going to prompt leaders to be able to have what I call conversational navigation. You have to think on your feet. Now, if I say to a graphic designer, don't worry about it, and 2 months later I lay her off, my other employees are going to see that and say, holy cow, I don't know if I can trust him. It's going to put our leaders in very precarious positions. So again, what we have to realize is AI is here. There's no getting around it. AI will not replace the leadership conversation. It will change it, and it will accentuate, it will elevate the importance of the conversation. So again, I'll show this one more time, and I'm not trying to turn this into a sales pitch, but I want you to just take a picture of this. This is Coach Apply 5.0. This will take you to a form that you can fill out, and we'll send you some information on the platform. I contend people don't coach, not because of time, but two main reasons. They don't know what to do and say. That is an important thing for you to realize. Here's why that's important for you to realize. By understanding that, and I'm going to turn this off here in a second. By understanding that, people who don't want to coach will gravitate to technology. Well, that seems like a good solution, and it absolves them of that responsibility. So what you have to realize more than anything when you're coaching is that the conversation is going to become more powerful. If you're an L&D or an HR person, you have to get your people practicing conversations, because the conversations are going to change exponentially with AI right now. So the minute somebody says, don't worry about it, and 2 months later that person's laid off, that leader's trust is gone with the current team, as harsh and theatrical as that comes off. So it puts us in really precarious positions. Now, what leaders do have an opportunity to do where jobs are affected by AI is to proactively have those conversations about adapting, navigating, changing. If they don't, because they're too busy, people will leave. People will leave. People will always have the choice of fight or flight. Most people will take flight because it's uncomfortable to not know. Or if you're somebody who can't have that conversation, the trust meter starts to wobble a little bit. So think about, again, let me just bring up a couple things for you. AI is here. We know that. It will not overtake leadership coaching. That need will always be there. Leadership coaching and conversations is going to go through the roof in my estimation. Power of the conversation. We have to have the power of the conversation. Okay. And what we have to do is get people to understand that that interaction between the boss and the subordinate will become even more vital. Put some comments in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm just going to turn on that QR code again. Just take a picture here. And if you want some information on this platform, it does have an AI component. I think you'll really enjoy it. If you have any questions, let me know. Please reach out to me. I would love to be able to help you. One of the things that I always love to share with people is that, we're in the business of helping leaders and peers be able to have really good coaching conversations with one another. That's solely what we do. So if you need any help, please let us know. And if you have any questions for our company, let us know. And I hope this is worth your time. Have a great week, everybody.